I don't look at it that way. First, to recognize the offense, 1,814 yards of offense in eight games versus our competitors that had 573 yards. So that comes down to 227 yards per game we averaged compared to our competitors that averaged 72 yards per game.
Wow.
Number one scoring offense at 29 points per game in the entire Bantam League. Number one scoring defense, allowing 5.75 points per game. Daryl wanted me to round that off to 6, but that's not appropriate. We had 15 of 16 players with carries in games, and every kid on the team had a carry in scrimmages. We forced 17 turnovers as a defense, 12 fumble recoveries, and 5 interceptions while only giving the ball up 4 times. So 17-4. Great job, guys. 13 players out of the 16 had multiple tackles in games. And some of the kids didn't get a lot of time on defense, and still 13 kids had multiple tackles. 8 different players with multiple TDs. So half the team had at least 2 TDs on offense, while no player had more than 8 TDs. So the most any one kid had on the team was 8. By far the most balanced attack in the league. You know, when we got to the Super Bowl, what did we drill you guys about that week? Caden. Toby Roby. One-dimensional team. They have one kid that's a superstar. Did we shut him down?
Yeah.
We'll talk about that in a little bit. You know, obviously it's a lot easier to focus on a team like that only has one star. We can get all of our kids focused on that. Frankly, if they wanted to shut down any one of our players, okay, we got about 8 more that we can throw at you. We completed 45% of our passes while our opponents completed 24%. And if it weren't for the Union Grove Bronco game, the other 7 teams completed about 6% of their passes. We had 2 passes completed for TDs. We'll talk about that later too. While our road to the Super Bowl was very difficult, I think that got all of you guys more prepared. The Vikings had an easy road to the Super Bowl. They wiped out 2 teams in the playoffs. You guys went through a couple battle-tested games, 38-28 against the Union Grove Broncos, and then 12-6 against Waterford. And that got us ready to play that Super Bowl, and you guys sure came to play. So with that being said, we're going to get into talking about the individual kids. First one that I want up here, Evan Florence. Each of the kids is going to get 2 trophies, so I need you to hold these up. This one is from the league, so from Muskego Wind Lake, and then they're getting a Super Bowl trophy that's coming from RYS as well. Evan Florence was a first-year player with a motor that didn't quit, right? In practices, he made it very difficult on our offense. How many times did Daryl say, "Can you guys please keep him out of my backfield?" He came out of the gates as a terror. In the first 2 games, Evan was in on 4 different tackles through his first 2 games ever in tackle football. And I can guarantee you, can any of you guys say that? Did you have 4 tackles through your first 2 games ever in football? Probably none of you can say that, so great job. In the Super Bowl, Evan got an opportunity to play wide receiver. And at one point in the game, Daryl actually called a waggle pass, and Evan was wide open. Unfortunately, there was pressure on Derek, so he couldn't get the pass off to Evan, but boy, that would have been exciting, hey? Great job this year, Evan.
Good job, Evan. Tanner Martin. Tanner played with us 3 years ago, actually, and he grew a little bit too fast for his team, so we had an opportunity to get him back, and we took at him. So one of the things going into this year, we started with 9-man football. We played 9-man football until this year, and we went to 11-man football this year, which is great. And the other rule that went away is you could line up over the center. So Doug and I immediately started thinking about who the heck is going to be our center this year that's going to take on a nose guard right away. And that became a very big challenge for us. Tanner, I know, played center last year, and he's the first kid that I had that came in, and this is a credit to his coaches that he had the year before, and could one-hand snap. And for those who don't know what that means, you can take the ball with one hand and snap it up versus two-hand and snapping it back, and snapped it up with the laces. And was very effective snapping and stepping in order to get that block, which is key. We had one botched snap all year. 213 game snaps we had this year. We had one botched snap. That is absolutely awesome. You see some of the teams that we play, how many times do they botch the snap? They lose it down, lose yards, or we get the football. So to have only one, absolutely awesome. Although we did have one direct snap in the Super Bowl that we're not sure exactly what happened yet. Jake Holman, I think, called it on his own. He called it. Yeah, that's what I thought. Cold hands are going to do that a little bit. He improved his blocking tremendously as the season went on. We focused with him completely on getting a snap, getting a snap, getting a snap. And then he was getting beat a little bit on the side, and we took it to the next challenge for him and going, okay, now you got to snap, now you got to block. You need to do something after the play. And, you know, as most of these kids did, improved so much throughout the year after he did it. You know, we just simply don't run a play. If we can't get the snap and block a nose guard, our quarterback gets tackled in the backfield and it's over. So it doesn't matter how talented the kids that we have. I thought that Tanner's brightest moment, we scrimmaged a team twice this year, the Cardinals. And I know they didn't make the playoffs, the record will show that, but they're as tough a team as there is in this league. They could have very well been a playoff team and very well been our first opponent that we played. And the very first time we scrimmaged them, I got on Tanner pretty hard because their nose guard kind of ate us alive. And we moved the ball, but we could not punch it in the end zone on them in our scrimmage. And a big part of that was we were having problems in the middle like that. And I challenged Tanner on that, and the very next time that we scrimmaged those guys, that guy was not an issue. It was awesome to see. So congratulations, Tanner, on a very good season.
Yay.
Next up, Alex Underwood.
Jack, let him through.
Alex is in his third year in Muskego Wind Lake Youth Football. Fortunately, we were lucky to get Alex this year. Again, similar to Tanner, he grew a little faster than some of the other kids on his team. So Alex had to move up this year while the rest of his team stayed down. So we were fortunate enough to get him. Alex is the youngest player on this team out of all 16 kids, and he fit in as well as any kid on the team. You agree with that? Did you enjoy playing with these guys?
Yeah.
Did you guys enjoy playing with Alex?
Yeah.
Yeah, I figured you'd say that. Very solid defensive tackle who improved significantly as the season went on. He got more and more comfortable with that position each and every game. His highlight games certainly were the Union Grove Broncos and the Waterford Wolverines. Two toughest games we had all year, and Alex really shined. He was in on 4 different tackles in those 2 games. That's outstanding. It seemed like with Alex, you know, they talk about kids that are gamers. We play a team like the Steelers. Alex was bored with them. They weren't tough enough for him. So every time we came up against tough competition, that's when Alex stepped up his game. Great job, Alex.
Clayton Miller. Turn around and face everybody. All right.
Fireworks.
Coming through? It's like pyro. Do you have this going on?
Don't say anything bad about the Bears.
Right, I wouldn't do that. Clayton is a first-year player that relocated to this area. We won't hold against him that his dad's a Bears fan at all, really. If you take a look at, by the way, our trophies this year.
Awesome,
and I
by
give
the way.
Doug a lot of credit for picking this out.
Those are sweet.
They are sweet, aren't they?
Yeah.
Normally, if you get a football trophy, what do they look like? They're a guy catching a football, a guy passing a football. If anybody that knows anything about football knows that it starts up front. It starts with offensive linemen. I take a lot of pride in coaching our offensive linemen. And Clayton had to step into a position this year of guard. In guard in a wing T offense, we pull, all right, and we go out in space and we try to block people. That's right. They get as much running in as running backs do. And I am very happy to say I think we're the only one in Bantam levels, right? By actually the first week of the season, as far as that goes.
Bantam or rookie level.
That was still pulling their offensive linemen and getting out there. And I just want to reiterate some of the stats, you know, that Doug talked about. You know, first downs, 24-9. Rushing yards, 200-83. We doubled our total yards of our opponent. Outscored opponents 37-3. Oh, I'm sorry, that's just the Bears Packer highlight. My bad.